Welcome back to this special North Dakota Today, focused on thanking our veterans. Sponsored by Shooting Star Casino, Mahnomen and Bagley.
We have been honoring our local Honor Guard veterans today, and a lot of the time they've been spending at the newly opened Fargo National Cemetery. And today we have the cemetery manager with us as well, Andrew Guadalupe, to talk a little bit about what went into making the cemetery what it is. Thank you so much for joining us today. You've also been very, very busy since you started handling burials there. The number one question a lot of people have, and we just heard from Senator Hoeven, who said the National Cemetery is just a great complement to our state cemetery. But what's the difference between the state veteran cemetery and the national cemetery? And is there a difference in who should be at which one?
Certainly. So the biggest difference between the state cemetery and the national cemetery is a lot of back-end administration. That being, the federal cemeteries are run by the federal organization. The organization itself is the National Cemetery Administration, which I'm a part of, obviously. The state cemeteries are run by the state of North Dakota. The biggest differences between the two, and from what I've heard, is that in national cemeteries, I know our policy for individuals who served entirely within reserve units or within National Guard units were never deployed to active duty outside of training. They must serve for 20 years in that reserve or that active duty, in that reserve or in that National Guard unit. If they served any time in active duty, they're eligible for the National Cemetery. If they only served in the Guard or in the reserves, after 6 years, they're eligible at the State Mandan Cemetery. After they must stay in 20 years and retire to be eligible for the National Cemetery.
So there are some differences in the eligibility.
Yes.
If people have questions, whether you're a veteran yourself or a family member, how do they get the information to kind of break it down? Because it's kind of a lot of information there.
So the best resource for getting this information is either the NCA's website, nca.gov, or by contacting me or the state cemetery directly. That's the reason why we're here. I have all of these resources available to them immediately should they have any questions, and the same with the State Mandan Cemetery. If there are any concerns, we like to have a face and a voice behind the phone or to meet them in person so we can go over their specific cases, any specific details, and make sure they get a proper answer as opposed to just directing them towards policy which may not account for any particular details.
And let's talk specifically about the Fargo National Cemetery. A lot of work went into having this ready. Can you talk a little bit about the plots that are already prepared? And then there's the columbarium, there's the memorial wall, there's a lot there.
Certainly. So the Fargo National Cemetery offers both cremated burials and casketed burials. We offer in-ground casketed, where the government provides the liner, so the family does not need to purchase it. We also have what are called traditional sections where there's no liner present. If the family chooses to purchase a private liner for their loved one, we would place them in there. Besides that, we have in-ground cremation areas. Those in-ground cremation areas are smaller land plots, but they will still receive the same full upright marble headstone that the in-ground caskets will receive. And besides that, we have our columbaria area, which is an above-ground monument, where we provide marble niches covering openings in a wall for the veterans and their loved ones. We place them inside the opening in the wall. We inscribe on the marble niche, and we place that inscribed niche over the wall area to cover it.
And one last thing, the memorial wall.
Yes, ma'am. So we also offer a memorial wall. These are for veterans whose remains are unrecoverable, or if the family chooses to, say, scatter the remains entirely, they would contact us. We would go through the process of setting up a memorial case. The memorial case, the only difference is there's no ground, there's no land. It is simply a plaque affixed directly to our memorial wall, and it states "in memory of." The "in memory of" indicates that there's no physical remains there, but you can still honor the veteran at the cemetery by having that.
That's moving as well. Andrew Guadalupe, the manager of the Fargo National Cemetery, thank you so much for answering some of our questions today. I appreciate it. We'll be right back.
We'll be back with more of our Veterans Special, sponsored by Shooting Star Casino, Mahnomen and Bagley.